Good morning from 52-degree Florida. The sun is shining though. And what you're seeing is not far from where I live, there's this guy teaches on the weekends, I think Sundays, just probably Sundays. He teaches these guys how to drive a motorcycle. You can see a couple of them over there. Go over there. Yeah, kind of cool actually. I mean, I'm not a motorcycle guy, but best to learn the right way, which is usually not the way I do it. Anything, but just kind of. But it is an interesting kind of. He probably gets a few $100 from each of these guys, you know. And that's not too bad a payday for a Sunday morning. So yeah, very cool. And that's me. Good morning again. Super Bowl Sunday. That's kind of cool. It's a different. The Patriots. The controversy around the Patriots are just. I don't think it's the Patriots, but just a reason to gripe. And they're just. Oh my! Just to me, it's just gonna motivate these guys. You know. It's gonna motivate the Patriots to maybe give them a good licking. You know, kind of a show them who's boss, kind of a. On the big stage kind of a thing, you know, because that's a different experience than regular season. And they're hyping Seattle big time because Seattle did not make quite the noise during the season that they did entering the playoffs. I mean, their defense found itself big time in the playoffs, and that was evident during the season too, but nobody was really talking about the Seattle. I mean, maybe a couple people, but not really like a dominating season, you know. So this is going to be interesting. Yeah, it's always interesting how people react to and I'm a total conspiracy guy. And I always look at like, oh no, something in the end is going to happen, the penalty or this weird, and it's going to turn the tide, and a lot of people will walk away going, oh my god, that's rigged. But I don't think it's quite that simple. But it'll be one worth watching. But again, good morning. I'm not far from my house. Trying to find a little a little peace, you know, just a little alone time with the Lord. That's kind of how I survive. I'm like the Lord's stepkid, you know. I just kind of hang around, and he's pretty easy on me, you know. But the world, not so much, you know. Getting worse. It always amazes me what people can do to people. I mean, there's if one is not saved, if one does not have Christ in them, that's a complete unenlightened existence. That's what the Bible refers to as carnality. I mean, I think the modern definition of carnality is like, you know, sexual, physical. But carnality is that's part of it, but it's more than that. It's Adam. It's what the Adamic fallen life has evolved into, and it's smart. You know, the Adam life is not stupid. It's God endowed man, good or bad, with a lot of like amazing qualities. You know, here on Earth. Amazing. And once man, with the help, and this is kind of a teaching that the angels that rebelled became sort of the caretakers of the earth, and that's not how it initially started, but They were like gods. These angels, these high-ranking angels, they sat in the presence of God, and they had no problem with that. You know, I mean, they were submitted, but they were and undoubtedly are amazing creatures. Whatever, spirit beings, and it's just it definitely goes outside of our mind. Thinking outside the box, kind of a thing. That phrase from way back, and that's just interesting, and it's enlightening if you put it in you mix it with faith, and come up with some recipe of sanity or communication that kind of at least makes these things aware, make one's aware of these things, because it's fun. It's like getting a peek behind the curtain, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, and then seeing, wow, that's what goes on, huh? And I don't know all that goes on behind the scenes of this world, the spirit world, but it's interesting, and how I got off on that, I don't know. I'm not really sure, but the world is, yeah. People are, the meanness of people is kind of, on display more, maybe like a forcefulness. They're gonna come hell or high water. They're gonna have their way, and I've worked with such people, and it's like, what in the world, and on some occasions Christians, which is like discouraging, but we can go to sleep having ingested in our mind and what have you negativity, and you got to be careful, especially in the as it's called or was referred to as the mainstream media, this collective narrative that just is strangely exact in how each one communicates. Phrases, this, that, topics, that subject, this subject, just to keep that narrative the way it is, and it's really not a good idea. Fox is barely, but I can't watch Fox. I can't watch any of that anymore. I'm pretty much YouTube, and you can find some interesting stuff on YouTube, and you can also find some zany stuff. But and then and at the same time, YouTube is not a free, I mean, it's not into free speech at all. They have their algorithm or whatever they call, according to how they think. They're commies. They are. Google's a bunch of commies. But it's just this limit. The only way we even can come close to holding the people in power accountable is free speech. And once that goes away, then, and it's kind of been controlled for a generation now, more openly. And they allow certain groups to buy radio station or newspapers. Just media is a big globalist group, just controlling the narrative. It's much more complicated than that, but that's essentially, I think, what's going on. But again, just look for that light, look for that peace, that where it's not commotion, where you can avoid drama all the time. And drama's always happening in people's lives, and it's just a question of how they deal with it. And some openly fail at dealing with it, and some privately fail at dealing with the drama of life at times. But we keep going. we got to realize that this system, that what we were as souls born into, was broken. This is how that's our entry point of this whole scene. And God is like, and this is such a, God is like the finest lawyer that one could ever find. Like he is the law, and there's an innate fairness about God, and on the big, we're talking about God, in Christ on the big stage. That's a term that we apply today and all that, but the big stage is like God and his domain, this being. And we just have to kind of, in our own heart, just kind of humble ourselves before that reality in our mind, and just like, to the degree that we can, just let it shape us. It's like, Lord, thank you for your son. Thank you that he redeems us when we ask him, when we trust him personally and privately. So I kind of I'm gonna go into Super Bowl mode at this point. So yeah, and prepare for that, which will be interesting. I'm confident, and I'm never confident in these things. My team's in the game. I'm never confident. I see too many possibilities of things going wrong, but that's how I'm geared, which is so troubling, but makes me feel like a kid again. And it's exciting. That's and the Patriots, they've become the Yankees in the NFL. Everybody hates the Patriots. Yeah. Everybody. I mean, Belichick was, I don't think it was as bad as they portray it now, but he's like Darth Vader. He was like a villain, and the media portrays him as a total villain now. I mean, chasing young women, the whole thing. He's not good at optics, old Bill, and there's definitely something going on there, but his brilliance is just second to none in this generation when it comes to football. It's not so easy to see it when it's happening, but years later, looking back at the facts, you can see that he's like a defensive genius. In the arrival of Tom Brady just complemented him, complemented, complemented, I don't know if that's a word, but complemented Belichick's defensive status. It's just, Brady was like, he just lapped it all up and became, pound for pound, he probably is the greatest quarterback, because he was never a thoroughbred, and he's kind of lanky. I think he's like 6'4", 6'5", but what a heart, what a stinking champion's heart. They did that kind of up there with Jordan. I might have already talked about this. He was kind of up there with Jordan. They had this crazy intensity that was scary. Yeah. I mean, in the heat of battle, you probably did. Players of Jordan's time said he was hard, but he was a generational talent. He just, and I remember, and it was like, this guy, but he came out of nowhere, not out of nowhere, North Carolina, but he was just this skinny kid who just kind of made his name in his last year or something. I forget how that worked, but he was on the map, and he stayed on the map. Anyway, I'm probably going on more than I want to. I've got to go, and I've got to remember what I got to do, but I will. But I will sign off. Hopefully, enjoy the bowl if you're into it, and try not to worry. We're all in this together. It's all good. We'll all get there together. Hey.